now we are going to let the floor to our British friends.
The United Kingdom, social benefits are managed by HM Revenue and Customs and our Department of Work and Pensions. The services are split dependent on what type of claims are being made by citizens. The majority of social benefits are managed by the Department of Work and Pensions. DWP makes payments of approximately £183 billion a year, and in 2018-19, fraud was estimated to be £4.1 billion, approximately 2% of total payments. Fraud is increasing. The increases in fraud are because of the complexity of the system and the ability of citizens and criminals to establish false identities or to hijack the identities of legitimate citizens. In order to simplify the process, the United Kingdom is moving the majority of benefits to citizens, social benefits, into a single process called universal credits. So this includes unemployment benefits, housing benefits, and a wide range of social welfare benefits. Universal credits will shortly also bring in tax credits, which is an employment credit which allows people on low income to claim additional tax reductions to enable them to stay in work rather than claim social benefits. Universal credits uses a range of data and information from lots of government departments across the UK, including the Home Office, police, local authorities, our postal service, banks, financial institutions. We bring in information from credit referencing agencies so that we can see things like activity on mobile phone usage, just so that we can see a very broad range of identity information. A lot of this is because in the UK we don't have a national identity card, so every citizen's identity is established through a complex series of different identifiers that they use in their daily life, such as a driving licence, which is managed by the Home Office, or a passport, which is managed by the Home Office, or their employment records, which are managed through HMRC. So there's a very wide range of data sources. We have in DWP, they have a matching service which takes these data items and seeks to match customers and create single records for them. The primary purpose of this data matching is to try to limit fraud by identifying duplicate records or duplicate claims. Most customer activity is being pushed into online claims. However, in DWP, at the start of a claimant must present themselves to an office and undergo an in-person interview with a member of staff to establish their identity. This is because some citizens don't have a strong footprint with identity documentation, so this allows for them also to claim benefits. Within the risking model itself, once a citizen's identity is established, we issue online credentials, online authentication credentials, so that a citizen can manage their activities across departments using computers. We do further checks on their identity to establish a strong proof of identity, or try to establish a strong proof. And most importantly, we apply transaction monitoring. So this is a principle we've established in the UK, where we monitor the behavioural activity of all online users of government services, so that we can understand if a single criminal actor using a single computer or a few computers is accessing multiple citizen identities. So we can see the bad behaviours, and that helps us to identify fraud that we haven't picked up through our other checking services, where criminals are more focused on creating false documents and false identity information. So seeing that actual behaviour is very valuable to us. We then apply behavioural risking. This allows us to see unusual patterns of activity in claims across not just social security, but across all government activities that are citizen facing. We then have more traditional business process and fraud rules. So those are the more traditional rules around conditionality, meeting conditions in order to be able to claim a certain benefit or credit. And then at the heart of all of this, we developed this idea of a digital persona. So this is the citizen, the computers they use, the geolocations they normally communicate with us from, the internet service providers they normally use, their addresses, their phone numbers. We draw this information together to create a model of what that citizen normally looks like. The main use of digital persona is to try and understand when something changes. So if an identity is hijacked, we're able to see early that this is not the normal behaviour for the legitimate citizen. Within that system, as I said, we run transaction monitoring, and that brings together all of these features. When a citizen interacts with our online services, HMRC runs the authentication service for government gateway. So when a user logs into our government services, we see all of the enriched data around the computers they're using, their location, their internet service provider. We look at that information and make a comparison in under a second against their digital persona. If that looks suspicious for any reason, we push that information to a fraud caseworker who will review the activity manually and then determine if there is a risk, and if so, suspend the claim. And that occurs not just in benefit fraud, but across all taxes and a range of other government services, so Companies House and all manner of different registrations and government processes. And we start to exchange that information, that fraud risk information. At the moment, we exchange that through slow communications, emails and notifications. We are just starting to build a system which allows us to communicate that information instantly to the department that the citizen is trying to access. We have a series of reputation services which take information about the computer a customer uses, the addresses they use. We find criminals will make up addresses, or they will add a location to a legitimate address. So there may be a block of flats, and they add a flat onto that doesn't exist onto that address, so that they can use it as a mail drop. So these services allow us to validate that the information we're being given is accurate and reliable, and if it isn't, allows us to then pass that to a caseworker to review. We match against bank accounts to ensure that the citizen's account actually belongs to them, or if it doesn't belong to them, that they have an activity history linking to it. Again, this is all automatic as a citizen gives us information, so that we can automatically prioritise things that are most likely to be fraud. We then surface that information to our risk workers, combining all of the information about a citizen in a summary, together with every activity that they've performed against government services. We highlight any particular risks that have been identified in that customer's activity. And then within each session, each interaction, we highlight, for instance, in red, we highlight a user ID if that user has known to have committed fraud against government before, so that our risk workers already have the intelligence in front of them to understand the risk of that customer. We highlight suspicious activity in amber. So, for instance, where a computer is giving us a false information about the type of computer it is, that's unusual. So we highlight that as well, because it may indicate it's a criminal trying to hide who they are. And then we summarise the information about actually what the customer did, what they told us, in very simple terms, so our risk workers can review the information we have. In terms of criminal sanctions, they can range from stopping a benefit through fines for minor offences, and for serious criminal activity, they can be imprisoned. So we have a range of prison powers, judicial powers to imprison people, up to and including for conspiracy. So if a large organised group attack our systems, those penalties can include up to life imprisonment. So we have a full range from denying a claim if it's just a mistake or an error or someone's deliberately trying something minor, through to life imprisonment for serious organised crime groups. We also have a range of operational risks around complex behaviours like hidden labour and labour supply. These are difficult because they are managed across departments. So the citizen may be registered through Home Office, working for a labour supply group, and actually the employer is committing fraud against HMRC. So we have some very complex data management and criminal management problems that we have to tackle. For legitimate organisations, they are required to check the identity of a citizen when they employ them, and then provide that information to HMRC and HMRC regularly exchange that information on a daily basis with Department of Work and Pensions and Home Office so that we can see the identity of a citizen across departments. Thank you.
Well.
We have lots of fraud.
Yes. We do too, by the way. So let me ask the question. Do you have any plan to implement some identity cards? Because as you don't have any, it would be really the right time to use the biometric things and start from scratch.
It would. So in the United Kingdom, UK citizens voted not to have national identity cards. As a result, we have to manage that risk in a different way. We have two forms of online identity authentication, which are EIDAS compliant. We have Government Gateway and Verify. Both of those services require a citizen to prove their identity to a certain level, and then they're issued a credential which allows them to then access government services. They also have, most citizens also have one or other almost identity documents. So the UK national driving licence, almost, yeah. So most citizens have a driving licence. The UK driving licence is photographic as well, and that's used in place of a national identity document. And we have a lot of citizens have passports, which are also used in place of a national ID card. But we don't have a national ID card.
Can you just tell me how you are dealing with the very high level of population coming from abroad? I mean, you have so many people coming from abroad. Because the question of ID is not only for the fraud, it's also for the security. And that becomes another issue. So how are you dealing to secure the ID you don't have with migrants?
So any migrant worker who's not an EU citizen, on entry to the UK is issued with a right to work permit, which is a photographic identity, also holds a national insurance number, which gives them an identity for work, for social security and for tax. And those are linked to their identity documentation that they present when they enter the country, and are linked to a photographic identity.
Well, do you have a physical appointment to get this number, or do you get it online?
No, that's a physical appointment. So that's on entry to the country, though you have to present and your identity is verified at that point, and then you are issued with those identity documents.
Do you use a biometry at that time?
Yes. But only for non-UK nationals.
Yeah.
We can think that your model is mainly built on databases. Do you have some trainings, some schools specialized in data mining? How do you form the new generation, or during the career, your staff on the data?
So we have a lot of data scientists who work on the information and develop patterns of activity. And so, for instance, in HMRC, every transaction for every citizen that goes through HMRC is put through a large system called Connect, which applies regular fraud data models against every activity. Those models are updated on a regular basis to see changes, reflect changes in fraud activity. It's a similar process in DWP.
Do you have any committee or something which makes the balance between the surveillance and the freedom like we have for the exchange of data and everything?
Yes, so all data exchange is strictly controlled through legislation, and there are privacy groups and privacy boards. So we have government privacy boards, but then we also have public privacy boards, so citizens can be represented into government and can object against government policy. So we combine both our own legislation and citizen input.
Well, we have so many questions. Do you think it would be possible to come and visit your place and have more explanation?
Of course.
Thank you. And oh yeah, do you work with Plymouth University because they are working on fraud for European Union? They have a lot of studies about it. Do you have connection with this university?
I don't personally, but I'm sure we have.
Okay. So I hope we can meet another time. You are in London,
yes,
based. Thank you. Thank you so much.